This episode is brought to you by Peak, the blockchain for real-world applications and home of DePIN. If you think it's time for Web3 to get real, check out their website at peak.network. That's peaq.network. Hello everyone, Daniel from DePIN Hub here, and today we have a project called Powerpod. They're revolutionizing the EV charging space using the DePIN ecosystem, and we just met Ting, the CEO, in China, in Hong Kong a few weeks ago. Actually, he was also in Dubai. We survived the flood together, basically. It was quite wild times. Finally back in Lisbon after a long time, many trips, many events and conferences. Really excited to go back home and focus on podcasts, focus on building the products. And today we have the pleasure to have Colin from Powerpod in the podcast. Thanks so much for joining, Colin. Speaking all the way from Sydney, Australia, right?
Yeah.
Can you start by introducing yourself and your role at Powerpod?
Yeah, sure, no problem. First of all, thanks for having us here. Pretty exciting to meet other members of the DePIN circle. Right now, though, I mainly work in marketing with Powerpod. It's been really fun. I haven't been there from the start, but I've been in for a while now. And I graduated initially as an engineer, actually, from university. But then I saw Powerpod and I reached out to them and I ended up getting a job in marketing, which is kind of funny in its own way. But I've been really enjoying my time. And once again, thanks for having me here.
Nice. What kind of engineering did you do?
I actually just did mechanical. My dad, since I was young, he liked mechanical also. He did mechanical things. And so I just kind of picked it up from him and I always enjoyed building things.
Yeah, I think, because I see a lot of engineers coming to DePIN projects as well, because of course, not just software for the blockchain, but also, working with physical infrastructure, physical devices. And I mean, I think for even for you, mechanical engineering working for Powerpod. And then another thing that I see a lot happening is engineers going to so many different roles, right? I feel that being an engineer, you struggle so much throughout the university that anything else that they throw your way gets a bit easier to do. And marketing is particularly exciting.
It is exciting and it is a bit of a struggle. There were some nights, night before an exam, where I'm just dreading the exam itself. But that's just kind of anything with life, sometimes you just wake up and the next morning you have some meeting you have to go to and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to go to that in the slightest. I think it did actually help me because it made me really good at timekeeping.
Yeah, that's exactly, I think, working under stress kind of thing. Going back a bit to Powerpod idea.
Yeah.
Can you explain for the listeners what Powerpod is, its vision and mission, what they're trying to accomplish with that?
Yeah, easily. So our main vision is that we want to accelerate a sustainable energy transportation method for the greater auto industry. To do that, our mission is that we're going to build an Internet of Energy, is what we like calling it. And so by building this Internet of Energy where we can connect the infrastructure, connect the storage network, and connect charging stations everywhere, we're hoping to bring proper energy equity and bring some major industry changes, such as reducing the cost for entry, and deliver a really solid plan and not just say over and over, we're going to do this. We really want to bring the energy cost down and have faster adoption of electric vehicles to everyone as fast and as stably as humanly possible with tangible results.
I mean, it's been very interesting to see the progress of Powerpod, right? We met Ting in Denver. You could see actually they bring in the devices. You can see the chargers. It's how it works, how it looks like. And I'm really excited. I cannot wait to have my own device here in Portugal because I have an electric car as well. I want to start using it as soon as possible. I know that you said you were not from the inception of the company, but do you know what inspired the creation of it?
The main inspiration came from living in a city. So one of our founders, he lived in a big city, but also an older city. Think New York, Beijing, Berlin, old cities, major cities, but still old cities. And his biggest issue back then was he literally just had a limited number of charging stations. This was a few years ago. Adoption of EV cars wasn't as great. As he was driving around desperately looking for a charging station or somewhere he could park his car and charge it at the same time, all he found was malfunctioning or non-compatible stations. And at some point he just got fed up and decided he was going to change it. met up with another founder of ours, and they themselves just developed Powerpod to really bring more compatible, less malfunctioning charging stations to bigger cities that you can use anywhere for everyone.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I remember here in Portugal, for example, there's a lot of power like charging stations everywhere. But once I
Mhm.
was trying to travel to the north of the country during holiday season, and then even though there's a lot of charging stations everywhere, there's a line like so that really
Oh yeah.
delayed our trip. If there was something like I can get an app and then look for other people's charging stations, that would have
Mhm.
solved that immediately. I think that the DP narrative with PowerPod is very strong. Maybe you can like touch a little bit on that, understand how does the DP model work with PowerPod.
The main reason we chose DePIN, decentralization in general, is because you have the big, let's take North America, for example, the big two charging station places there. They're both centralized, like Tesla Supercharge and ChargePoint. Both of them are centralized and they have issues. Everything has issues, but especially for the electric vehicle scene, they definitely have issues. And so we're hoping through DePIN and better decentralization, we can create a solution that centralized companies themselves cannot reach. So for instance, just with DePIN, we can use blockchain, and through blockchain, we can create a really transparent way of viewing transactions. So all users and consumers, anyone who uses us can easily see where their money's going and where their money's coming from, right? But at the same time, we really want to facilitate some peer-to-peer trading of energy. Like a big way of thinking about this is that a centralized solution such as Tesla is like the hotels for charging stations. So you go there, you know what you expect. You pay $500 a night. It's a hotel, right? But we're trying to create the Airbnb for charging stations, where you just go to the average person who happens to hold some PowerPod hardware, and they can say like, hey, you can use my charging station that's not as fast, but it's cheaper and anyone can use it. And then that just opens up a greater amount of charging stations for the public, allowing more and more people to use electric vehicles. And in its own way, so that you can go to anyone else and be like, hey, I started using electric vehicles because there's so many just cheap charging stations everywhere now. No matter what, I don't have to worry about finding it anymore. I think that's probably the best way to we fit into the deep end model, so that the more hardware we have out there, the cheaper it is for everyone, and you can transparently see where everything's going.
So yeah, you touched a little bit about the consumer side, but then for the supply side, if you
Mhm.
have like a parking spot or a restaurant and you want to provide like a dedicated spot for other people to come and charge their car in your location, how would that work with PowerPod?
So we still have some kinks to work out for each country, because of course each country has different rules and regulations for connecting to the existing infrastructure. But the key idea is to use your example. If you have a family-owned restaurant and they own some parking spaces out the front, you can use that parking space as its own resource. So let's say you have 5 parking spaces and you put a charging station from PowerPod on one of them. You can then have people pay to use that parking spot because they're also going to be using that parking spot as a charging station at the same time. So anywhere you own and anywhere you think you could earn some money off of, you can implement some of our hardware and help the wider community by giving back to them in the form of a charging station, but also at the same time, you'll earn some passive income in the process because you've put up the hardware and everything for them.
Yeah, I can see this. It's a really interesting way to really help a lot into those people who need a place to park, people who make an extra income, right?
Yeah.
I like to think about the restaurants a lot because restaurants sometimes they want to find extra income sources, right?
Hmm.
And if you can have like 10 parking spots and then 3 of those you can put like a power pod charger, the
Yeah.
users when they come to your establishment for like having lunch, coffee, dinner, whatever, they can also charge their car, and then you can actually make some extra income from that without having to do anything, basically, right? Just like providing the space that you already have. And I really really enjoy that passive idea of like passive income that a lot of DePIN projects enable, I think, and provide a lot of service. I think it's pretty cool. What are the main challenges that you guys have seen in the past and you foresee in the future for creating this decentralized network of shared EV charging stations?
I'd say the biggest challenge, the most obvious challenge at least, is just rules and regulations. Like I said earlier, each country has its own regulations and rules. We can't just turn up, dig a hole in the ground, and place a charging station and connect it to the grid. There's a lot of A lot of legal work, a lot of paperwork that goes into that stuff. That's the first obvious challenge. The second one I'd have to say would probably be getting started. Because once it's up and going, it's fantastic. You know, you have another network for electric vehicles to use and it's nice and cheap. But initially, it won't be as appealing because an obvious charging station, you know it works, everyone knows it works, you know, yeah, it may cost a little bit of extra money, but it works reliably and well, and everyone can use it, right? But if when we just start a charging station, say outside of someone's house, you're going to be like, you don't know how well it works, you don't know how fast it charges, and then and if it's the only one around, then they could charge a premium because it's the only one around. So until we have a really fleshed out network, those first few charging stations we set up are going to be a bit rocky. They're going to be a little bit rough to the average person, but we're hoping by the time we have our network properly set up and a good amount of adoption has been achieved, that those issues would really go lower down and they won't be necessary anymore.
Yeah, I think on one way is you have like the cold start problem, and in a way, DePIN is a very good way to solve that, right? Like if you can, let's say, incentivize users for starting the network, maybe okay, the first one's gonna have an extra incentive mechanism for being the first one, so people are gonna actually rush to deploy those devices as soon as possible, and this you can actually create like a bigger network quite faster than other infrastructure rollouts. But yeah, the legislation I think is quite interesting. Europe has its own plug, the US has its own plug, Asia, different countries have different. It's like just the plug or the regulation as well. Like, are you allowed to share your power with everyone? How does that work?
I can't say much for the regulation side of things, simply because I haven't been kept up to date on that side. Right now, we're mainly focusing on getting our current hardware out there because we did recently have our big pre-launch sale. So I can't say too much on that side. But for like its own plug, we're operating within the standards. So I believe Europe has around 4 standards. We're focusing on hardware to be interoperable between all 4 standards, so the plug won't matter as much. If you have a unique charging station plug that's only used by that one thing, it won't work then because it's not part of the standard. But for all the standards and the plugs, our hardware should be plenty operable with it.
What are the cool things that have happened in the last few days or weeks with Powerpod? Because I heard you guys just started the first pre-order campaign. How's that going?
We're really happy and excited with it. We put out a Twitter post recently saying we actually, within about 2 days, we got 80 plus sales on, which we're very, very happy with. We're hoping for, by the end of the first month, 500 sales, we'd be over the moon if we saw that. And then that's probably the biggest thing that's come out soon. It's unfortunately not a lot to say, but really is, we put a lot of effort into getting this pre-sale going on. We're having some Galaxy airdrops coming in soon also, so that we can get even more people excited and more people can check it out. But those are the main things that really are cool that's happened recently.
Where is a cool place that people can go and check out about the pre-sale campaign right now?
The most obvious place would be our website, but we constantly post updates on our Twitter and in our Discord server. Those are the easiest places to find updates. We also have a Telegram channel to those who don't want to use either of the other ones. But our website should have a constant link towards our pre-sale page that's always available.
PIC is a layer 1 blockchain designed to power DePINs. Why do DePINs choose to build on PIC? It's fast, scalable, low cost offer builders are ready to deploy DePIN SDK and is multi-chain. So when you build on PIC, you're building for all Web3. PIC is home for the fastest growing DePIN projects, with more than 100,000 vehicles and devices deployed, over a dozen DePINs already building, and the world-leading device manufacturers such as Boss partner with them. Think of building a DePIN? PIC has a grant program for DePIN builders. If you're listening to this, remember, you're early. The PIC network will launch in the first half of 2024. Check out PIC's channels for more details and links in the podcast description. When I was in Denver, I was checking the device, and Ting and the team was telling me like all the cool things that the charger can do. It's not just like a dummy charger that you just plug it in the wall and charge your car. There's some extra functionalities about that, right? Can you bring it up a little bit?
I'd say the first thing I have to correct you on is that it's an adapter, it's not a charger. A charger hardware isn't out yet. This is mainly an adapter. And the biggest cool functionalities that we have is what we call charging to earn. So by just using this adapter with your everyday normal electric vehicle plug, you actually earn our tokens, and then through those tokens, you can earn even more tokens, and it sort of snowballs in its own way. So just by using this in everyday life, you can earn some money. I mean, imagine a gas vehicle that can do that. You go to a petrol station, you fill up your car, and in the process, you earn like $5. It'd be fantastic. Our second big one for the functionality is community sharing. So our main idea with this is that the more you share with your close community, say your friends or close family, and they have electric vehicles also, if you share our adapter with them also, you actually earn even more than just by yourself because you're sharing it with the wider community and giving us more data that we can use to tell the community, the widest community, the worldwide community, charging information and then like efficiency information, all sort of stuff. We also have really well-built and very solid built-in security protocols and safety protocols that allow us to use strong encryption for all of our purchases. So you never have to worry about potentially losing profit because someone is using your charger to earn money for them. They're all private, they're all safeguarded, there's no unauthorized access allowed. Probably a big thing for us also was compatibility and ease of use, because no one likes getting a piece of hardware or a piece of software where the UI is all over the place, no one knows how to use it, and you have to spend like 5 minutes on Reddit just to understand how to open up a single menu. We really emphasized on making it nice and easy to use. So anyone from like the 16-year-old who just purchased their first electric vehicle to like the retired 65-year-old who just wants something nice and simple to drive. We just want everyone to be able to use it very easily.
It's going to be like web-based or like an app, like for my phone that I can see if someone's charging, how much tokens it's generating, etc. Where do I manage everything that I own?
Yeah, so just through our D app, which we should be launching soon also. Through our D app, you'll be able to see, like, for instance, if you've shared your adapter to someone, you can see how long they've been charging for. You can manage how many tokens you've earned. You can, in the future, when we have charging stations available to everyone, you'll be able to set the price on how much it costs. So if it's like off peak hours, it could be less, but if it's during peak hours, it could be more to charge your station. You can use your tokens through our app also. You can really do everything we want through our app.
That's awesome. Yeah. And as I know, like I'm an electrical engineer, and I know that hardware is also pretty hard, right? Like I think building a DePIN project has many more layers of complexity than a lot of other decentralized or crypto projects in general. Can you talk a bit about the Powerpod supply chain? You guys are manufacturing in China, like where it is, how do you plan to distribute that to the world and to the customers everywhere?
We've actually hooked up with a very major supplier in electric vehicles, think like Hyundai, that sort of thing. They're very major. So there's plenty of hardware to go around. So, like I said earlier, to use an earlier number, we said we'd be so happy to sell 500 by the end of the month. But we have enough hardware and enough of a supply chain that we could sell 2,000, and there'd be plenty of hardware to get out those 2,000 pieces of hardware out to the wider community itself.
Yeah, it's probably gonna happen. Yeah, let's make it happen.
We're hoping. We're hoping.
Now going a little bit on the blockchain side of things, which kind of layer one is Powerpod built on top mainly? And do you guys have a token? Do you know a little bit about the tokenomics, how it's going to work?
We have two main tokens. We have our PT token. Our PT token is the utility token. This is the token you earn just by charging, sharing your adapter with other people, or other people use your charger station. You earn your PT token, and then through this PT token, which is the utility token, it gives you a bunch of various benefits and functionalities to its holders. I can't say what they are, because we haven't really nailed down quite yet what the benefits are yet. But through our PT token, you can commit in a twice daily auction for PPD, which is our governance token. And so if you want, you can like see this auction one day and be like, oh, that's quite poor chances for me to earn this. But the next day you could have better chances with your PT after you gather a bit more, and then you could earn more PPD. There's only going to be 100 million minted for the PPD. But through the PPD, it's stored in a DAO treasury. You can use this PPD to help point out issues in the infrastructure. You can use it to help guide the community where you want. You can give better governance to the community. That's the main token we want. The PPD is what actually is the money maker with our tokenomics.
So if I want to charge my car in someone else, like charging adapters,
Yeah,
I would use the PT token then to pay for it, and then the PPD is
not
the
quite.
utility token that people are gonna use for. No, sorry, not utility. It's the tokens that people use to vote for improvements of the network and suggestions, etc. Like improvement proposals.
From what I understand about it, how it works is that, to take your example, if you were to use, say, a friend's adapter, when you use this adapter, you basically say, hey, I'm using my friend's adapter. In this process, you earn PT tokens by using our hardware. At the same time, your friend earns some PT tokens at a lesser rate, but still at a rate, so that you both generate PT tokens. And to pay for other people's, say, you go to a restaurant's hardware, you go to a restaurant's charging station outside, you just pay just straight cash with that, but they earn PT token through your charging, which they can then use to purchase PPD to help be used anywhere they wish it to be. So you don't have to pay PPD.
So if I want to charge my car in someone's restaurant that has a
Yeah.
Powerpod, then I pay with fiat. Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, with fiat. I forgot the word there. Yeah. So you can pay with fiat, but if you do have a collection, if you do have a collection of PPD, you can also choose to pay with PPD. It does have a set value. But the key idea is that for the average layman who doesn't care that much, they can pay with fiat.
Okay, I see. Then they connect to their credit card, the Alipay, WeChat, or anything like that, and then you pay for the charge. Okay, I mean that
Yep.
that makes it very, I think, easier for the average person, right, to use, because there's definitely that level of barrier if the person is required to use the tokens or like buy the tokens in the secondary market and exchange before they actually can use the charges. I think reducing this friction is extremely important for DePIN projects in general, right? Because on the supply side, on the demand side, you don't care if it's crypto or not, or you shouldn't care. So being able to pay with credit cards and other methods, I think, is quite important.
It's exactly what you said just there. Like, my parents, they're not young anymore, right? So they really just want something nice and simple, and we're trying to bring down the wall for the barrier of entry. And if we only had it through PPD, then someone who's not very into DePIN, into crypto, they just want to pay with straight cash. They wouldn't want to use us because they have to do the dance of earning PT, then paying PPD, and only then can they use our hardware. We really want to lower the entry barrier so everyone can use it. And with a lower entry barrier, we'd really bring down the cost far more than we would if we just used PPD.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you personally, what are the things that you're mostly excited about Powerpod and its like future?
I'm excited about a few things. The first obvious one is our NFT program we're going to be launching. So the idea behind the NFT program is that not everyone owns an electric vehicle, or not everyone can afford our hardware because they just spend all their money on an electric vehicle. And so our NFT program is mainly a method so that people who don't have the hardware, they can participate also. And through NFTs, through select unique NFTs, we're going to have it like a booster. So if you use, say, an NFT with our adapter, you could earn twice as much PT. So if you buy an adapter and you share it with your friends, which is a lot cheaper than just buying a whole electric vehicle, you earn PT, sorry about that, PT through them. And then if you use your NFT on it, you can earn even more PT through them. So it costs you only the price of an adapter to generate a very stable side income for yourself just by using the NFT you already had on hand. Another thing I'm really excited for is in our current phase, we're mainly trying to get out the station chargers and adapters, but in our next phase, we're hoping to expand even more to vehicle chargers. So that, for instance, if your friend's electric vehicle, they didn't pay enough attention and they ran out of juice, you can turn up, you plug in I'll plug in our vehicle to vehicle, and you both earn PT in that process, And then further on, we have even crazier hardware, but I'm not allowed to tell you quite yet, I've got to keep something secret.
So for following up with the secrets, the alphas, and everything that's happening, where people can go, I think we mentioned before, but like to reiterate again, to learn more about Powerpod and keep up to all the updates and all the excitement things that are coming up.
Our first obvious one is, of course, to keep from updates from us is our website. But not everyone wants to just follow a website every single day. We're very active on our Twitter, Powerpod_people. We post daily retweets, daily information news, and a lot of big announcements are announced through Twitter. And through our Twitter, you can also get access and our website. You can get access to our Discord server where our community is there already. And you can talk to other electric vehicle enthusiasts. You can talk to anyone in the Powerpod community. You can talk to us team members directly, mainly through our Discord, because we have quite a few team members in the Discord itself. And we also have a Telegram group chat where you can talk to other people if you don't want to go through the Discord.
Amazing. I'm going to make sure to list all the links on the description of the podcast. Colin, thanks so much for being on the podcast. It's always great to talk to great projects. And we spent a lot of time with the Powerpod team throughout the Denver, Hong Kong, Dubai. And I'm really excited for everything that you guys are building. And for the listeners out there, make sure to follow up with, DePIN Hub podcast, subscribe for our episodes for anywhere that you listen to. Make sure to check at depinhub.io and subscribe to our newsletter, because alongside Powerpod, we're going to be doing a lot of cool giveaways and cool things and cool alphas and a lot of things that I can't really talk yet, but make sure to subscribe. And yeah, man, thanks so much and enjoy the rest of the day all the way in the land down under. And I'm going to go get some sun here as well. Have a great
Thanks
one.
so much for having
Cheers,
us.
man.
We're really excited to be here. Have a great day.
Thank you.